Hello, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar, Planning Your ETL Migration Strategy with Talend and Bitwise. My name is Nathan Nichols. I manage partnerships and communications at Bitwise, and I'll be your host for today's session. We have a very knowledgeable team lined up to talk about some essential considerations when planning your data management strategy, especially as it relates to data integration. From Talend, we have Micah Jones, who will show us why you need a modern integration platform to remain competitive in today's landscape, and talk about the value that Talend provides for these initiatives. We also have our own Girish Kapoor, who will show us an automated solution for efficiently migrating your legacy ETL. And we have a special guest from Talend, Adam Isler, who will talk about a brand new program for quickly getting started in your move from legacy to modern integration tools. So we have a ton of material to cover, but before we do so, let me give a quick introduction to Bitwise. Bitwise is a data management consulting and services company. We use our 21 years of enterprise data management experience to help bridge gaps between traditional EDW and cutting-edge technologies, including cloud and big data tools. We are a Talend Gold partner, and together, Talend and Bitwise are truly dedicated to helping customers greatly minimize the pain of moving from legacy integration systems to modern tools. As we go through the presentation, feel free to send your questions via the question feature. We will close with a Q&A session, so we'll try to get through all the questions as we can in the time. So with that, let's jump into Talend and data integration and pass things over to Micah. Micah?
Hey. Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate that. Hello and welcome all. Thanks for joining today. As Nathan mentioned, my name is Micah and I'm account executive for Talend, and I've been here about 3 years, working in a variety of different roles and capacities, and it's just been an exciting company to be a part of. And I'm really excited about the partnership with Bitwise and how we're continuing to attack the market together. So Talend, our whole passion and the reason we exist in the market is for data agility. And it's for the modern business. And what that means and what we kind of try to tell people is that we want to equip you with the ability to keep up with the needs of the business, scale to support the ever-increasing data volumes, users, and use cases, rapidly adopting new technologies such as cloud, big data, and open source. And we do all of this in a future-proof manner, unified platform that allows you to be really portable and scale on this platform. Go to the next slide, Nathan. So, and we've done this by a history of innovation and growth. And Talend has been around since 2006, started as an open source company, and we realized that people and companies were spending way too much money on these legacy vendors doing ETL, ELT, and so we saw a market to be a part of it. And we really made a huge bet with big data back in 2012, and now it seems like a no-brainer, but back then it was a huge gamble, and it's really paid off. In the past few years, the 3 years that I've been here, we've grown rapidly. I was employee number 300, and we're up over 900 now, almost close to 1,000. We've been growing in cloud and big data 100% year over year. It's a fun industry to be a part of, and it's a great company to be a part of and represent. And so now our whole focus is cloud and how you're moving to the cloud and scaling that direction. So next slide. We've been recognized as the leader in Gartner for both data integration as well as data quality, and as also a Forrester from a big data perspective. And that's just tributes to the innovation and how we're growing and expanding and how we've been able to help the market and become a leader in that. And one thing I want to mention here is that Talent, we're just over $100 million company surrounded in this leaders quadrant with companies like Informatica, IBM, SAP, over $1 billion companies. So even though our revenue is small, we're able to stay agile and be relevant in the market, and that's what's exciting about being with Talent. Next slide, Nathan. Again, Forrester leaders. You can go forward. So why Talent? 15 years ago, you could make a choice on any ETL or ELT vendor, or you can just hand code because you're using Teradata or Oracle, and it's just pretty much batch loads, and it's pretty simple moving data. Well, now we're moving into an environment where you have to be able to remain agile. You have new data sources and data processing technologies, and you need an integration solution that allows you to plug and play these technologies in, such as real-time, self-service, machine learning, and governance. So as data integration is being reinvented, we need to be able to keep up with that, and you need a platform to be able to scale accordingly. And that's really where Talent comes in. I mean, use cases changing from just simple financial reporting to now personalization and predictive maintenance and prescriptive maintenance. And these things you got to be able to keep up with the business to remain relevant in the market. Next slide. And not only that, you're not only on-premise, but you're moving to the cloud. And there's vendors like Azure and Google and AWS. And you need to be able to either pivot off of one going to the cloud, or have a multi-cloud environment, or hybrid cloud on-premise. And so the environments and architecture are getting more complicated. And really where Talent solves this problem is because we're able to connect to all those in a simple, agile manner. Next. And it's our data fabric. We're a unified platform, and you can continue, that allows you to do real-time, self-service, machine learning, and governance for those hybrid and multi-cloud environments. And we produce native Java code that allows you to scale into those environments. So with our open source community and technology, we remain relevant in the market, and we hear about trends. We hear about the next wave of technology, such as Beam that's coming out with Google, and we were one of the first adopters of that. In fact, we built our Talent 7 on Beam, which we're really excited about where that's going. And so hearing what's happening before the trend becomes the trend is really where Talent plays. Next slide, Nathan. And with that comes a single platform with a lot of different avenues that you can leverage. And that includes standard data integration, ELT, ETL, big data integration as you move into the Hadoop landscape, application integration, ESB, combining multiple applications, MDM with master data management, cloud integration, and data preparation and self-service. All of this built on that single unified platform to remain relevant and to handle any use case that comes your way. And that's really why Talent is the leader in the market for big data and cloud integration challenges. With that, thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to Girish.
Thank you, Micah. Good morning and good afternoon. I'm Girish Kapoor, Director of Data Analytics and Data Integration at Bitwise. As Micah mentioned, why it's very important to move into a new age data integration. And there are a number of reasons to migrate your aging data integration or legacy platform onto Talent. I would quickly touch point on few of the points that could be one of the reasons you may need to transform your aging data integration to Talent. For example, reducing your complexity with the multiple environments when there is a merger happens and you basically acquire different data integration tools. With that, it's challenging to maintain your data lineage, then controlling the cost with multiple data integration tools. But the real question here is how we go and do this migration, as there are a number of reasons I explained to migrate from your data integration platform. The existing code that has been built on top of your legacy platform has been growing over the course of time, or years, I would rather say 7, 10, 15, as Micah mentioned, 15 years plus. Organizations have tons of legacy code that is running their day-to-day business, doing a lot of transformation processing for their business logic that happens on a daily basis to run your business seamlessly. Now, would you like to upset that? And if you do, because you're getting a great new features and functionalities from Talent, and if you really want to go to Talent, it is really easy to move your legacy ETL platform to Talent? Certainly not. It is very tedious and resource intensive to do this, because normally the normal process for the conversion and migration is to understand your legacy code and rewrite all that code manually, which would lead to a very long time. You need developers who have good understanding of Talent as well as legacy platforms. So you need to cross-train individuals who can read the code from the legacy platform and understand the logic and rewrite or recreate similar ETL flow with logic in Talent. All of this is difficult for an organization to make a decision or a proposition to undertake a transformation of this magnitude. So how do you solve this problem? Well, we at Bitwise has been working with Talent and also developed the ability to convert any code or ETL into Talent. Even we are doing this for last 9+ years and perfecting our ability to convert any legacy code or any ETL product in market into Talent. And at this time, we have come to a point where we can confidently say that up to 70% of code from your legacy platform can be brought into Talent without any manual coding using our automation. So right there, it solves the problem of having a person read through the legacy code and to recreate code in Talent. Well, all you got to have is Talent developers on your staff to run the code through the automation that we will provide. Very soon we will run through the demo where we will show how it converts. Run this legacy code, which can come from variety of platforms like Informatica, DataStage, SSI, Netezza, Teradata, etc. As you see, we have listed number of ETL platforms that can be converted from to Talent. We can also convert legacy PL SQL and T-SQL packages, store packages, who use a SQL server. All of that can be put into one converter, which can convert up to 70% of the code. And the reason we use thumb rule of 70% is because some of the simple ETL can be converted 100%, whereas more complex code with complicated logic may take some manual effort to convert, where there is no perfect fit between your legacy code and Talent platform. And that's why we average our automation up to 70%. But that is such a good way to going forward with your conversion, and it takes away all your load to make a decision on converting legacy code to Talent platform, and also cuts your time to market significantly, which is the other reason that a lot of organizations are using our conversion tool to convert legacy code to Talent platform and can be solved using our automation process. Let me go through our automation process and the architecture behind it. So we have built this automation using hub and spoke architecture for the conversion, and this is involved over the course of time based on our 2 decades of extensive experience across all major ETL platforms. What we saw was a commonality, how the feature across most ETL platforms are so common. They're so common uh, that between them, commonality between them, that we was what we did was we extracted the ETL features, components, and the functions from all of these ETL products and created a superset, or I'd say a database of common features, components, and functions in a canonical XML order and imported all these features across all the ETL platforms in one common central repository we call as hub. Next thing we did, we wrote some parser which could read through any ETL product or XML and import the business logic flow for that particular ETL into this canonical XML database. So now we have captured the ETL flow. Let's say Informatica ETL we are converting and brought it into our central database. In this database, we also introduced some translation tables which looks up at a particular function or a feature or a component that would map into the best possible fit in Talent. The next step is what we call is an adoption stage, which reads the canonical version of this ETL in our hub and also reads the translation table from a database to translate the feature from Informatica or any other ETL code into Talent feature and create the Talent ETL in an XML as an output of our adoption stage. So what we have as an output of this entire flow is an XML, which is representation of a Talent ETL, which got converted from your legacy code, and as a final step is to import XML into your Talent. As you hear, it is very simple way to explain how our conversion works. Of course, there are a lot of complexity involved while converting legacy code, which could be one reason for you to discuss with us the next steps. As we said earlier, we do not just convert legacy ETL codes. We also convert a legacy PL SQL and T-SQL stored procedure. And how we accomplish here is we have a hub in a canonical format. We wrote some parsers which reads the PL SQL and T-SQL stored procedure, and the parser the SQL out the mapping those ETL into like functions. So we do that in the first phase, creating a mapping document out of the stored procedure, and we feed the mapping document to our converter, which is the adoption phase we discussed earlier, which look at the database hub, looks at the mapping and compare PL SQL and T-SQL functions and matches best fit in Talent and gives you a converted XML format Talent code and can be imported into Talent. So again, looking at the PL SQL code, which is procedural, we are able to transform into a non-procedural mapping, and with the automation give you the Talent code as an output. Next slide. So we'll go through the demo quickly, and here we are basically going through a quick demo converting our ab initio code to Talent. What you see on the screen is an ab initio graph been selected using our automation tool. The first step is to read ab initio ETL graph, pass it through our parser we mentioned earlier, with which is written in Java. The parser parses the code in the ab initio environment and in less than few seconds put into our hub, which reads the mapping tables from our hub, creates best possible fit in Talent, and gives you an XML, converted XML for Talent code, which is then imported into Talent platform. You can now see the exact same ETL in Talent. What you saw was an ab initio ETL graph with exact same flow. Also, the code behind it. You can now see the not only that we have converted the graph, but also the code, all the SQL statement, logic, etc. It is not just matching the component or feature to convert, it also captures custom code that were manually coded into ab initio graph. All that is brought automatically into Talent. So right here you are seeing converted Talent map that represent exact same flow, which just converted from ab initio graph to Talent. What is going to do for us is it will take away the actual effort. It will reduce total time to market, and the amount of effort to convert manually will be reduced significantly. But the most thing is the accuracy of the conversion go up significantly because of the constructs, all the manual code that was there in ab initio or legacy environment. All that complex code is copied and plugged into Talent. So no human effort factor is effort factor is eliminated, because someone can read that code and misinterpret and can create something different in Talent, which will increase the time to market, as it will be caught in the testing phase, and there will be a lot of rework, and which basically helps to eliminate by using our automation. As we said earlier, not all legacy code we can convert automatically, and in those cases we put placeholders in Talent code, and at the end of the conversion process our converter sends a conversion report, and this report tells you exactly what part of your legacy or ETL code did not get converted automatically, and it also provides the reason why the piece of the code was not converted. You can give this report to a developer who can review the report and then manually tweak or make changes to the Talent code. And that's where we say 20 to 30% manual conversion comes into picture. There will be a situation where we cannot convert anything, but we provide placeholders which can be handled or resolved looking into our reports and provide you the information. Thank you, and I will pass to Adam to go over the next slides.
Thank you, Girish. So I'm going to go very quickly and try and leave some time for questions here. Girish kind of talked about why you might want to move to Talend. I wanted to talk a little bit about, typically when you're doing a conversion program, you tend to have challenges like those shown here, right? That you're worried about managing the scope of the conversion project because there appear to be things that are kind of floating off on the sides. You have trouble building a business case that overcomes the conversion cost. You'll take a look at Talend and you'll see all the benefits and you'll see why you can save time and money using it, but what is it going to cost us to convert? And then how do I prioritize the set of jobs or graphs that we have to convert? Because, particularly in a large enterprise situation, you could be caught looking across a lot of LOBs or different functions or different systems. And so what we wanted to do was we wanted to work with Bitwise and put together a pilot program that would help get on top of all of these and deal with all these challenges. So we worked with Bitwise to put together a joint program where you get a Talend senior architect who works on the overall shape of the program and what you're trying to accomplish. And then we leverage Bitwise's expertise, as you've just heard from Girish, on actually doing the reporting on the level of complexity and what is convertible and what isn't. And then it provides you really with a roadmap to how to do your conversion that will be that you can count on and allow you to build your business case. I'm going to go through this very quickly. We start with a qualification process where we really try and understand where you're trying to go, whether or not you're also replatforming while you're doing this. Maybe you're moving off of old-fashioned RDBMS and changing your targets to new cloud databases and so forth. We then go through an assessment phase. As part of that assessment phase, Bitwise will run their software to give us a good picture of how many graphs, what's going on in them, what's the level of complexity, so that we can have a good sense of what it's going to take. We then plan and pick out a sample set of jobs that we will convert as part of the pilot and execute those conversions, and then we have an output and a report that demonstrates that we were able to do what we thought we were, and gives you a plan forward for your volume conversion. Let's move on to the next slide here. We're running a little late. And so, what are some of the benefits of that? Obviously, you can manage the scope of the project a lot better there. We help you prioritize the conversion path and the graphs, so that you know exactly what to do first, second, and third, and it allows you to have a lot of confidence in moving into the larger full conversion effort with a really kind of a guaranteed scope and sizing and time, and you have a lot of confidence that you're going to be able to do the entire conversion without a lot of surprises. So with that, I'd like to turn things back to Nathan. And thank you very much for your time.
Great. Thanks, Adam. And thanks, Girish and Micah, for excellent overview there. I know that was a great deal of information in a short amount of time, but I think it was well presented. And we can move now into the Q&A portion and dig into your questions. Before we get to the Q&A, just want to remind you that you can get all updates and go back and look at some of our previous webinars where we had specific demos on whether it's PL SQL conversion to Talend, but plenty of resources there to help you dig in and understand the solution a little better.